Meet the Messiah of Siberia. He is known to his followers as Vissarion, and he claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. Welcome to Inform Overload, I'm Charlotte Dobre. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories about people you won't believe exist. The man who claims to be Jesus lives 4,000 feet up a mountain in a remote area of Siberia. Vissarion has a loyal following of around 5,000 to 10,000 people. He has thousands of disciples who are convinced he is the reincarnation of Jesus of Nazareth. But Vissarion did not always have that name. His real name is Sergei Torop. Sergei used to be a traffic cop in Minusинsk, Russia. Then in 1989, he announced he was the Son of God. He now leads one of the biggest and most remote religious communes on the planet. His followers are called Vissarionites, and they live in over 30 settlements in southern Siberia. People have traveled far and wide to become a follower of Vissarion. A man claimed Dennis traveled from Brisbane after hearing about Vissarion, and he hoped he would be the answer to his questions. He was quoted saying, "No doubt about it, mate. Definitely the Son of God." Hermann, a Bavarian engineer, sold his home in Germany to join Vissarion. Vissarion's commune has its own laws, symbols, prayers, rituals, hymns, and even its own calendar. It is year 57 for the Church of the Last Testament. The calendar started when Vissarion was born in 1961. All of his followers must be vegans, unless you're an infant or a lactating mother, who are only allowed to drink sour milk, but it's very hard to find. There is also no monetary exchange, meaning you can't buy things, only occasionally with the outside world. Vices of any kind are not allowed in these communes. No smoking, no swearing, and no drinking. The only vice that is permitted is falling in love. Of course, Vissarion has many critics, who have labeled him a charlatan and accuse him of brainwashing his followers, who consist of musicians, doctors, actresses, and ex-Red Army colonels. So why do so many people follow this man who claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus? Well, according to Hermann, he radiates incredible love, and they truly believe he has come to save the world. They believe this so much that they live very hard lives in his footsteps. They drink sap from birch trees, they live off food they gather in the forest like berries, nuts, and mushrooms. They trade handicrafts and foods with nearby villages. But for the most part, the communes are very cheerful places. Children laughing can be heard everywhere, and the birth rate is much higher than in other areas of Russia. Oh, and I thought I would mention this. They constantly believe in an impending apocalypse, where a comet will inevitably crash into Earth, and their area of Siberia is the best place to survive.
I could cough and those droplets could infect you. That's alarming because it's human to human transmission rather than animal to human.
We buy a mask because we have heard of the disease that is spread through breathing. So just to be on the safe side, you never know.
I don't shake people's hands and I don't kiss. The precautions you take are not to talk to people and always wear a mask.
Fast-moving wildfires exploding across wine country, forcing tens of thousands to flee their homes. At least 10 people have been killed, and the firefight has only just begun.
At least 15 fires are burning out of control across Napa, Sonoma, Mendocino, and Lake counties, incinerating tens of thousands of acres so far.
This is just one example of the devastation of this fire because, as I say, apocalyptic is not out of the question. If Hollywood wanted to create a movie set for after a nuclear bomb, this is probably what it would look like. Now, 73,000 acres have burned in multiple fires. At least 1,500 structures are destroyed. We don't know how many of those are homes, but earlier we were talking, even if 1,000 of those are homes, we've lost 1,000 homes in a 4-county area. 20,000 people evacuated, 10 people we're told have died, 2 in Napa County, 1 in Mendocino, and 7 here in Sonoma County.
Now, aid organizations are sounding the alarm as the number of cases in Yemen's cholera epidemic, fueled by the Saudi war, is set to hit world record highs. The World Health Organization says the rapidly spreading disease has exceeded 800,000 cases. Thousands of new cases are being recorded on a daily basis since the outbreak began 6 months ago. Yemen is set to surpass Haiti, which has documented 815,000 cases over the past 7 years. Charity organization Save the Children says there has not been a faster outbreak since records began in 1949.
Jerry Brown is declaring a state of emergency as the hepatitis A outbreak continues to grow. On Friday, he signed a proclamation allowing the state to increase its supply of vaccines. There have been 18 deaths in San Diego County alone from hepatitis A. Over 550 cases have been reported statewide. The lion's share of those have been in San Diego, with 490 of those cases. 2/3 of those infected are homeless or drug users.
Carter Evans joins us now by phone from Santa Rosa, California. Carter, this week has become the deadliest week for the California wildfires in the state's history. Officials fear that the number is going to rise. What more can you tell us?
Well, the reason they're worried that it's going to rise is because they just have not had enough time or resources to go through all the rubble. We're talking about 3,500 homes and businesses that were burned to the ground. And remember, this happened in the middle of the night. We're talking about like 3, 4 a.m. People did not get warnings. There were no warnings that most people got. Some got a reverse 911 call on a landline, but most people I spoke with said they heard nothing but people running in the streets and honking horns for everyone to get out.
A prolonged drought plus unusually high mid-October heat are a deadly combination. The wildfires tearing through the parched forests of central and northern Portugal have claimed dozens of lives and made many more homeless.
Obviously, we would like to present our deep condolences to the families of these victims. As you know, Sunday was a day when all records registered this year were beaten. We reached the maximum of 524 fires, and today, since midnight, we've already registered a total of 110 fires.
And over the border, fires raged in Spain's northwestern Galicia region. More than 100 separate blazes. There have been a number of fatalities, including 2 people who died when their car was trapped by the flames.
The
Met Office has warned of potential danger to life as the remnants of Hurricane Ophelia hit the Irish Republic and head towards Northern Ireland. Troops have been deployed to coastal areas in the Republic in what's expected to be the most severe storm to hit Ireland in half a century.
The worst storms for hundreds of years hit the south of England early this morning.
And Ophelia will reach the UK later, exactly 30 years after the Great Storm of 1987, famously catching the forecasters out.
Earlier on today, apparently, a woman rang the BBC and said she heard that there was a hurricane on the way. Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't.
Weather forecasting has come a long way since then, and this is the view of Ophelia from space as it moves towards Ireland. It's predicted to be the country's worst storm in more than half a century.
Topic that could come up at today's news conference is North Korea. That regime's deputy UN ambassador reportedly has issued a new threat to the United States, according to Reuters. In a prepared statement, he warned nuclear war could break out at any moment, and the entire U.S. mainland is within their firing range. But just this weekend, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson said President Trump is encouraging him to keep working on diplomacy.
He has made it clear to me to continue my diplomatic efforts, which we are, and we will, as I've told others, those diplomatic efforts will continue until the first bomb drops.
Lieutenant Colonel Michael Waltz is a former Green Beret commander and counterterrorism advisor to Vice President Cheney. Good to have you, Colonel Waltz. As you look at this situation, and we're hearing people like Ambassador John Bolton say, we are now at the point where the next move they make, we may have to respond to militarily.
Well, I think Ambassador Bolton is absolutely right in that time is not on our side.
On Saturday, Reuters reported that the U.S. government has issued a rare public warning about hacking campaigns that are targeting energy and industrial firms. On Friday, a report by the Department of Homeland Security and Federal Bureau of Investigation said that the nuclear, energy, aviation, water, and critical manufacturing industries have been targeted along with government entities. The agencies warned that hackers had succeeded in compromising some targeted networks. The agencies said that they have been monitoring the attempted attacks very closely.
A Boise State University professor recently learned what happens when you challenge left-wing social narratives on college campuses. Scott Yenner, a tenured professor, has been under siege after publishing articles with the Heritage Foundation and the Daily Signal about feminism and the transgender movement. In those articles, Yenner explained how the transgender movement undermines parental rights. He wrote, "Transgender rights activists are seeking to abridge parental rights by elevating the independent choices of young children. Respecting the sexual and gender choices of ever younger children erodes parental rights and compromises the integrity of the family as an independent unit. In response, students, activists, and even staff members at Boise State are now waging a relentless campaign to get Yenner fired or shut down. A petition to have Yenner fired, which has now gained thousands of signatures, has been passed around on campus. Activists have posted flyers attacking him, and some have called for other faculty to come out and officially condemn him. In an interview with the Daily Signal, Yenner explained how the crusade against his work and others who challenge the left-wing orthodoxy on campus is undercutting free speech at our colleges and universities. The result of the reaction to his work, Yenner said, is that there has been a very chilling effect on not only my speech, but those who would speak in defense of me both on the substance and on the principle of academic freedom. The blowback came in earnest, according to Yenner, when the School of Public Service posted his article on their Facebook page. The dean received immediate negative reactions and anger from students and LGBT activists. The dean, Corey Cook, then posted a statement on Facebook saying that while Yenner had a right to publish, his work violated the university's aspirations of diversity and civility. This didn't stop the waves of attacks that would come Yenner's way. The campaign against him became a crusade for the new student diversity and inclusion hire, Francisco Salinas. In August, Salinas wrote an article called Connecting the Dots, condemning Yenner and tying his work to the recent events in Charlottesville and to Nazism. This was posted on the Boise State website. While he has received withering personal attacks over his research, Yenner said that few have engaged with the ideas or have seriously attempted to refute his arguments. He said, "That's been one of the most disappointing things." Yenner goes on to say, "It strikes me that there has really been, first of all, no effort to first understand what I'm arguing, and second of all, to get anywhere beyond name-calling and labeling." Yenner said that only a handful of students have come out to publicly defend him or even say he should be allowed to speak on his views without getting fired, though he has received a lot of private support. Yenner said that he's made new friendships, especially among those who privately share his views or actually want to understand what he has to say. Nevertheless, he said that he now feels like an alien on campus. "There's a kind of feeling that there's a mob," Yenner said, "and you don't run across a mob." While Yenner said he will not back down about writing about gender and other areas that he studies, he is worried about what the attacks mean for free speech and others who are afraid to have their careers derailed. The message that's being sent at Boise State is that if, in any way, you challenge or question the ideas or fundamental assumptions of the transgender movement, you will be bullied, personally insulted, threatened, and abandoned.
Disney Channel is about to introduce the network's first gay character. Showrunners for Disney Channel's Andy Mack have just announced the network's first gay character, Cyrus, played by Joshua Rush, will debut in Season 2 of the series. The series has been known to touch on tough topics, like in Season 1, when the title character found out her older sister is actually her own mother. Showrunners say they talked with child development experts while writing in order to tell Cyrus's story respectfully.
With fears of growing war with the US, North Korea has held extremely rare mass evacuation and blackout drills. The exercises appear to be some kind of preparation for possible US airstrikes. They were carried out in secondary cities and small towns across the country this week. Pyongyang did not take part in the war drills, which were focused on the East Coast, where the US is likely to attack. Such blackout and evacuation training are rare in the region.
London Fashion Week took place recently, and one of the fashion collections has stirred up some controversy. Turkish designer Dilara Fondikoğlu presented a Spring-Summer 2018 collection at the altar of St. Andrew Church in London and incorporated occult and satanic symbolism. The 26-year-old has had her creations worn by celebrities, including singer Rihanna, FKA Twigs, and Grimes. The fashion show featured singer Brooke Candy and drag artist Jason Dardo. Fondikoğlu had said in an interview that she's into parapsychology, the occult, and magic, and these influences are very much evident in her fashion. Former Anglican Bishop of Rochester, the Right Reverend Michael Nazir Ali, said the demonic theme of the show was not acceptable and could lead people to areas where we don't want them to go. He said, "Christians will be outraged. This was not necessary to do, in the sense that Christ's name is being dishonored. It is blasphemous." The bishop said the general rule was that churches should not do anything that dishonors Christ or contradicts the Christian faith. Ms. Fondikoğlu said she wasn't expecting the controversy and has been receiving hate mail and abuse from Christians. She has even posted a message for Christians on her Instagram page. The caption reads, "I pray your Jesus to heal your souls filled with hatred." She told a journalist, "People are so ready to hate each other and find a victim to throw heavy negativity. But isn't religion supposed to say we should spread love? I think this whole idea of religion is so corrupted, and this is a very good example of it." It's also been reported that the church themselves were unhappy with the nature of the show and have issued an apology for booking Fondikoğlu's catwalk debut. A spokesperson for the Diocese of London released a statement to Christian media organisation Premier, which read, "The parish of St. Andrews has always supported London Fashion Week. We took this booking in good faith and were not aware of the content or design before the show took place. This was obviously a mistake, and the content of the show does not reflect the Christian faith of the church. We will be looking at our booking processes going forward to ensure this does not happen again." Also recently, church officials have defended the decision to allow the latest Hellboy movie to be filmed inside the Wells Cathedral in Somerset, England. The film involves a comic book superhero, with a backstory including Nazism and the occult. Some worshippers have criticized the decision to allow the 900-year-old building to host the filming. However, officials said the film was a classic story of good versus evil.
My son's missing. He was taken out, but I just wanted to check on him. I saw brother and I wanted to come out. We're driving home.